Okay, so I messed up and I forgot to record my audio, so this is me voiceovering. This is where I started my project bef yesterday, and so I got some prompt in, and um, yeah, this is the big prompt I gave it. I just highlight everything, copy it, or hit that little button, and take it over to the VS Code thing, which is hooked up to my Dell. You can see I've got all the files on the left, but Um, yeah, I just copied that in. We're doing an investigation on my admin page, so I wanted to just get some documents made about how it actually works. So this is my flow now is I'll investigate, get information and architecture or schema for what I'm working on. And then once the investigation's done and the document is made, then we make a plan of change. If I already had that document, then obviously I um just make changes. But yeah, right there, it's making that file, the md.md markdown file, and it keeps it over there in my architecture folders. So it gives those updates, but I'm kind of just showing you like how much action is going on. This is not, yeah, so it gives me these updates as it's going. Like that's just part of the list. Like you can see, I still haven't put a new prompt in. It's just telling me, hey, here's the summary from the first steps of the investigation. I've made this file. You can go check out this file. Um, or I'm about it. It makes that list and then says, okay, now that I've made the list, I'm going to make the file. So it like doesn't have to go back and forth between making the document and checking its investigation, and it helps keep it honest. So this is like the summary. Sometimes I'll add that and give that context back into the Claude browser just to keep it updated so it knows what's going on. But mostly what I'm doing now is getting those .md files and adding them into the directory for Claude browser. So right now, yeah, I'm just showing you. I'll just highlight that. Now that it's done, I'll copy paste that, put that back into the project, which is that prompt right there. You can see they're both the same first. Actually, no, I messed up. This is the one I messed up on. I accidentally copied it, but I must have not hit copy when I did that before. But since I added the document, which was just the report of the investigation, it kind of Claude just like, yeah, that's all not what I copy pasted. So, but Claude did it anyway and kind of knew what I wanted because we had already been talking about it in this chat. So it kind of redirected back, luckily. But usually it'll call me out on that. But yeah, I wanted to have those 8 steps to help with the security because I wanted to make sure that people couldn't just brute force their way in. Like I didn't have any way of checking if anybody even was trying to log in and couldn't log in. I would have no idea. And since I'm online now, I wanted to get my security up. So it's got this new task, all of these steps, tells it to read first, it tells it to check these steps, and then it makes restrictions like don't touch this, don't touch that, um, and then report back to me with whatever. So I did that earlier today. Um, and it just thinks and stuff. And I'm playing some Slay the Spire while I do that usually, or some other game. So yeah, it's just doing all that stuff. Investigation findings. Yeah, so I'm going back and forth, just telling it this and telling it that, which I'm pretty sure is what you're doing. I think the key step that's different is that I'm making it have these markdown files. I'm making it make these markdown files after huge builds, like big features are made. I want it to then, at the end of that, make a whole document that analyzes what that feature does, where it connects, and how we use it, and trip falls or gotchas or traps and that we may have found when doing that. So yeah, it likes to make those to-do lists. I've trained it in a way, so it's well, that's GStack and stuff. I have trained some, but like that GStack program like automatically helps it format like that, where it just says make these to-do lists. It helps it really keep track. It helps it figure out where it is and where it makes mistakes if we do. Um, yeah, maybe I'll just cut this stuff. I mean, kind of got the picture, I guess. I just copied this whole big prompt. I'm kind of just trying to show you like what amount I can do. I'm curious. This isn't a big one for tokens because I'm not making like a whole new feature and I'm not doing a big investigation. I'm just investigating my code, which is way simpler than any other codes, you know. But this page is pretty complex, this admin page. Um, really wish I knew what I was saying. Sounds like it's good. Yeah, it's probably mid. So it did let me change my password. This is me checking my password to, that's I have it really built in. I got into a lot of trouble with it having its own tests, even though I have the Playwright thing, which is kind of like a pseudo browser thing that the computer can look through and test its own shit on. Yeah, it's really been important for it to just let me do it because it can just be like 1 minute or I'm testing it. Yeah, and then I'll just be like, it worked, and I'm like, okay, great, and then it moves on. Otherwise, sometimes it gives me false positives, and it doesn't. It's like it's working perfectly. Great job. We did great. Great session today. Let's close it out. And I'm like, no, it's not working. I'm like, but the document I just wrote says it's working. So it's like, no, wait, you can't just tell the document just because the document says it works doesn't mean shit, right? Like, so having it prioritize code over the documents is important. But yeah, I'm basically just telling it that I did the test, keep going. I paste this back into Claude. I'm saying that the documents can't be the truth, but what I meant was like the chat documents. Like it before would just make the document, and now that I'm testing it and making sure the documents are really clean, now they can be used as kind of authority. But even then, we'll still probably investigate once in a while. To the time I won't do what I just did where I put like little things into the chat just so that this program manager like already knows what everything I've talked about it because sometimes it can get confused if I continue on with this first one. But yeah, the planning ahead, making the change, having it investigate, then we make a spec or a plan, and then we'll take that spec and make it another kind of plan, like a task list specifically. Like here's all the like the plan is like I don't fully know why they call it a spec and not a plan, but it's like they just find all the problems, find all the features we want to add, find any this kind of stuff, and then that's all in coding language. So then I have it like make a plan in English. That's not this. This is just the other continuation of the prompts. So we are switching gears here. Um, So I was doing like a kind of cleanup checklist today because I haven't done that in a while and I wasn't sure exactly what to move on next. It's looking pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I'm still going. I mean, I did about an hour earlier, so I'm still going, not even close to my tokens. Head here just to show you what I do at the end of the session. It's called a retro. This thing right here, I had this huge long session going on. It did a whole bunch of stuff. We made a new feature, yada, yada, yada. I made the thing too big, so now I can't close it. But yeah, it's talking about the document release. It's talking about the retro. and it's talking about the save context. Save context is really useful. It's more in like computer speaky kind of thing, not as not easily readable. Not as it's readable, but it's not as readable. But the document release stuff is nice. Great feature, I think, because when it finishes, it says, hey, here's all the important things we worked on today. Here's the new feature. Here's the outline of how the feature works. Here's where the feature connects to other parts of our website. Here's how the feature has been tricky in the past and traps that we found while working with this feature. So it tells me, here's my engineering thing. It tells you how many hours I worked, which usually is kind of doesn't seem to clock it right, but it tells you, I added 4,000 lines of code, or not code in this case, documents in this case, but yeah, it breaks it down for me. What am I doing? And what it did, yeah, like this part was really nice. Like 27% fixes, 53% documents, retro factors, whatever. And it'll give me a little, yeah, hey, you did good about this, and you could work on this. And it's mostly about the code hygiene and stuff like that. Like, so then I have all my files, right? It's got the Arcademy files, and I've got my Architect, Perseus, and specs. So I just have it like upload specs that we make to that, just in case it needs to reference it later. This is all kind of old documents that I haven't cleaned up yet, but I'm starting with these directories to get everything more organized. And that's basically how I close out the session. So that takes like an extra 20 minutes and stuff and can eat a lot of tokens, but it saves me so many tokens at the beginning of my sessions. Super amounts of saving. When I restart the session, I just go, hey, go check out those contexts, check out our context, and then do all the stuff. And it works real good. All right, I don't know.